Come all you rounders if you want to hear story about a brave engineer. Casey Jones was a rounder's name. On a 6-8 wheel of boys he won his fame.
Hey there. My name's David Mays, your host for this edition of Along the Model Railroad Line program where we talk about the fun you have playing with trains. And of course, I enjoy playing with trains. I hope you're enjoying playing your trains too. Going to be talking about what's described as part 2 of the saga of rebuilding old number 7, the LMB Models 242 Columbia type steam switch engine. Got all the parts here. And like I said, this video I'm going to talk about basically the next phase. Took it apart, started looking at the parts over, and kind of decide what we're going to do next. Get this engine fixed up. So with that, I invite you to climb aboard. We'll take another trip along the Morrow Railroad line. And like I say, take an engine apart and see how it works. Okay, we're back again. Got to do some more work on old number 7. As you saw in the previous video, kind of unpacked it from its box. Started doing some basic inspection of it, disassembly, kind of get an idea what we're doing. This time around, we're going to get even more into taking it apart, checking all the parts, make sure everything's working, figure out if there's anything needs to be replaced, or otherwise changed, things like that, and get the model ready to have its paint removed. Got to remove the paint and get it ready to be repainted and have other things done too. So right now, this is the box been keeping it in, kind of been its home for a while. So I'm going to pop that open. Set that there. Pardon me. Parts already got for it. Here's the engine. The engine and the boiler. Here we got the tender, things like that. And I got this little plastic box keeping some of the parts in. So first thing I gotta do, let's go ahead and start on the tender. Pardon me. A little bit of sinus drainage going on, so I apologize for that. Let's go and take a closer look at the tender, kind of start taking it apart and figure out what we actually got here. Let's get that. There we go. Little tender, little slope back tender. A lot of typical design used on a lot of steam switch engines. Got for this case, got the place for the fuel. In this case, a load of coal. Then the rest of it is the water tank. What this distinguishes this tender from other style tenders you might see more on locomotives being used in mainline service is it's got this slope here in the back. And the idea is you got the engine up here, the crew up in here, and when the engine's backing up, they're looking back what's going on. They got this the tank cut down so that there's nothing less of the tender getting in the way of their view, so they will look back and see what's going on the ground. And since these engines are used, in short distances within yards or whatever, the reduced water capacity is not a problem. And of course, got light right there, backup lights, steps there. Crewmen can climb up there to get at the place where the water's put in, or check on the coal load, whatever. And honestly, just looking at this, and I just realized there is no hatch here for where you're supposed to pour in the water. So just make a mental note about that. See about putting one on there. So anyway, you got the little steps, a little railing right there. That railing is kind of small, so probably eventually want to replace that. The coal load, I'm thinking about just remove that completely, and then fabricating what would look like an oil tank go in there. So this engine is set up to use fuel oil, heat up the boiler. And a lot of steam engines did do that, especially, a lot of roads here in the Southwest, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, up in California, other places, tend to use fuel oil, some type of oil for fuel, since we had all the oil refineries in this area and the other oil fields and stuff. So, the oil was cheaper than having to have the coal hauled in from some other part of the country. And the oil was actually a little more efficient, too. Let's see. Got, need to replace the coupler. This coupler looks like it probably was an old horn hook type coupler. Coupler box is still there. Hold on, please. Pardon me. coupler broke off. I'll replace that with some kind of a Katy coupler. I think I pointed this out last time. Got both the trucks here, the so-called arch bar type trucks. You get a little closer view there. And then it's missing some wheels. I got one good wheel here. The other three are missing. So, but I think I know I can get some replacement wheels, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. His paint is, bright green. I haven't decided yet. I want to replace the paint, repaint it, but most likely paint it, basic black. Though, thoughts in the back of my mind about painting up some other color. Gives that sort of thought. If anybody got any feedback, that'd be fine. Maybe, I can see this being painted green again, but something darker. Anyway, pardon me. Here, let's start taking this apart. Handy, jeweler's screwdriver. Let's grab this, keep it handy. Already got some parts in here. Stuff has already been removed. And yeah, let's go and take these trucks off. Everything's on there tight. So here's, twist that. Pardon me if my hand gets in your way. There we go. Starting to turn. There you go. It's on there tight. And here, grab. There we go. Got a little part picker. Let's use that. Let's grab that. There we go. Not sure how I can see that, but again, a little machine screws, got a shoulder on it. Please go through the hole there on the truck bolster. We'll just drop that there. Just going to put the truck frame there. The wheel itself seems to be in good shape, just may need some cleaning. So kind of be careful about it. Pull that out. There you go. I already measured this. The truck, or the wheel itself, is approximately a 28-inch diameter wheel. And I know a company called Northwest Shortline Pack offers some wheel sets in that size, so I'll be checking their website. Main thing to be careful is make sure the axle links match. So that's what I'll be checking on. Put that in there. Pardon me. Let's go and get the other truck frame loose. What I'm going to have to do, whoever had this previously soldered a piece of brass, strip right there from the frame to act as a wiper to rub against the rail as, engines run along. Kind of a way to help improve electrical conductivity in case there's issues trying to get the air, the power flows from the wheels through the truck frames, things like that. Problem is, it's now in the way of getting to that screw. So I'm just going to pry this up. I may end up removing this. Don't know if I actually need it or not. If I do, I'll get some new ones because this thing is a little beat up. Get in there with a screwdriver again. Okay, coming loose, not as tight as the other one, but tight enough. There we go. Let's see. Now what? Let me get that loose from there. Let's put the truck side frame back down there. Something I just decided to do, where you don't need the screws be down in here in the box. So to just help keep track of them, I'm going to put the screws back in the little holes here. There we go. That's why I just keep track of them. I mean, there's no real need for them to be separate as long as they're otherwise not holding anything in place. Okay. Pardon me. Now let's get the other one. There we go. Okay. Do that. There we go. Get the thread in. There we go. Got it. Okay. And just screw that, tighten that down a little bit. Not have to be super tight. There you go. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and take the coupler box off. It's plastic. And of course, the paint remover, I I'm thinking about using may or may not be safe with plastic. I have to go read the instructions. But at the same time, there's no need to really leave this on here. So again, need a smaller screwdriver. The screw itself holding this coupler box is definitely smaller. Okay, it's coming off. And get in there again. It's loose. Let's get the little part picker on there so you can grab hold of the screw with that. There you go. And it's loose. Let's see. Pull that out. There you go. You see that? There you go. Put that there. Let's pull this out. Good. It'll come out. Just slides out. The coupler box itself is plastic. Then you got the remains of a, assume it's a old plastic horn hook type coupler. Practical purposes, that piece of trash. There's no reason to save it. It's got to look like a spring down in here. Let's see. Pull that out. Yeah. Good. I can go kind of, I don't know, just drop it in there. Might have some use for that later. Not sure you can see that or not, but there's some little shelf there, for lack of a better word. But I'll hang on to this for now. I might be able to reuse this. I'll test this later, see if I may put a KD number 5 or some similar KD coupler in there. Got the little lid. Nice thing about this is it's got some detailing here to be on the outside, here and on the end sill. It looks like a metal casting. So idea, I'd like to keep that. If it'll work, great. If not, I think I got some other coupler pockets I could use that should fit in there. So right now, just drop that there. Now it looks like the frame of the tender can come apart from the tank. So let's go ahead and take that off. Get back to appropriate size screwdriver. There's 2 screws, one here and here. There's also a place here probably for a pin for the drawbar between the engine and the tender, and that's missing. So part of the repairs would be to come up with some new pin. That in theory, I could stick a screw down in there and maybe cut the head off the screw. Depends if I can find a screw that'll match up that hole or not. I don't know if these sizes are, American or metric. I'll have to do some testing. Let's see. Like I said, here and here. And just twist that off. There we go. Coming off. And okay, let's go and grab the part picker. Okay, here. Just here. Realize the screw hit from the coupler pocket still there. Let's go and put that back in the hole it came from. There we go. Okay. Keep it there. Just way of keeping track of it. Don't have to do anything special with it. And just tighten it down a little bit. There we go. Looks pretty good. Now, okay, that screws came out, so let's put it kind of right there. Just outside camera. Yeah, there you go, right there. Let's get the other one. There we go. What I got here is, pretty typical, most brass tenders. I got the frame is separate from the tender, held together with some sort of machine screws. You can take it apart, to paint it, do whatever kind of maintenance. If you're doing some kind of a sound system or a DCC system, of course, you can put all that inside the tank body, things like that. Let's get in here with this part picker again. There you go. There we go. Got that. Set that there. There we go. And there you go. Couple things I noticed about the frame. Where the trucks go, got little kind of pieces of metal that bent over to the appropriate shape and soldered to the bottom of the frame. Been painted a gray color. Like I said, long-term plans, I'll go and strip that off before I repaint some sort of black. Here's the tank body. A little solder joint. Overall, the tank's actually in pretty good shape. Okay, a couple of changes I'll probably make to it. So remove the coil load, replace that with some sort of sheet of plastic or something with some appropriate details to simulate an oil tank. I replaced the headlight. Like I said, there's actually no water hatch on here, so I'll come up with some way to simulate that. Probably have it up right behind the coal bunker or oil bunker, or kind of right there on the edge of the slope. Pardon me. Headlight, I might remove that completely and replace it with another headlight. That I got this idea. I've seen pictures of some switch engines where we're having this backup light rather than being on the tender, will be up on the roof of the cab of the engine. So I might do that. But in the meantime, that's it. Overall, the shape, condition of the tender tank is actually pretty good. So put that there. I'm going to put these screws back on here so you can keep track of them. Or here, they should go here. Got a place here where they go. Okay, can get my little part picker. Carefully grab hold of that. Hold up. Okay, got that. And tighten that down. And then do same the other one. Okay. I'll do a little checking off camera. I assume these screws are all metric. I mean, this model and probably a lot of brass models are produced by were produced by companies originally in Japan and later some in Korea and China, a few other places. And so they probably were using, like I said, most likely using metric items or metric measurements to figure out what size screws to use, things like that. Now, right now, I'm going to just drop this back in this bag. Keep track of everything. Okay. And now, keep track of that. And now we start working on the engine. All right. Did a little disassembly during the previous video. I was going to do some more here. Okay. Start out. Now there's the boiler. Of course, here's the engine frame. Let's put that aside. Right now, looking at the boiler, it pretty much what I saw it last time. There's some repairs that need to make. So the headlight's about to. It's actually on there pretty firm, but like I said, somewhere in this engine's history, it got dropped or something got dropped on it because you do have is some damage here. The smoke box or the smoke stack is missing. The headlight's been bent back. There's some damage on the cab. There's a little bend there on the roof of the cab, and paint's chipping. So far, nothing I don't see anything that, says this engine can't be repaired. Well, pardon me. So, right now it's mainly just like I said, kind of straightening some parts out, redoing the headlight. I want to replace the headlight anyway. I want something that looks a little more, a little more purty. This headlight's pretty basic. Kind of straighten out the braces here. One's a little loose, but within easy to fix. I'll probably replace the bell. The bell's pretty basic as far as how it looks. Looking over the model, actually overall the paint's good. Just like I said, it's kind of this bright green. I've already getting sort of the debate a little bit. Do I just paint your basic black, or want to get a little fancier? Because I do have an image in my mind how I want to use this engine, and being a little fancier paint than just plain black might look appropriate on it. Again, nothing, don't want to have a circus engine, but something a little fancied up a bit. Uh, at some point in this engine history, somebody did add some weight to it. There's what I think is lead down in there. I mean, I'm going to take a wild guess. There's a type of metal called cerobin. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's supposed to, it's basically a heavy type metal, kind of similar to lead, but apparently can melt, say, at temperature of boiling water. And so it looks like how it is when it looked like somebody poured something in there. It's metal, but it's kind of poured in there and then poked at it with a soldering iron to get it to go in. Pardon. Because the weight that's been added, practical purposes, there's no way it's coming out. Not without, a lot of digging. I might test it later and see how easy it is to melt, say, a soldering iron or something. But at this point, it's not in the way of anything. What I'd like to do is see if I can remove the smoke box front. I've seen a picture of this engine, or specifically the boiler, and which was missing the front cover there. And it would make some work easier if I can get inside. So here, let's take. So you got a little chisel blade here. So I might be able to try that. So you can get up inside. Let's see. So you can get right there. I mean, I don't see any obvious gaps, so this may take a little extra work. Okay, I don't want to force anything, but push on that. Yeah, that thing's in there good. Like saying, whatever they use to fill in the boiler for weight is apparently flowed down into that area, and like I said, more or less kind of glued the smoke box cover into place. So short term, leave it alone for now. I'll play with it later. The this the headlight, I probably be able to get in there with a soldering iron to loosen that up. I want to redo the top of the steam dome. Got this one thing here, I guess supposed to represent a whistle, but I want to come up with some way to have the whistle and a couple of safety valves. The simplest thing would probably be cut that off, cut that little nub off, and then drill holes for 2 safety valves, and then drill a hole on the side for the actual whistle. And the bell itself shouldn't be too hard to get loose. Again, it's pretty basic. It's not like it's something fabricated as opposed to all these little brass castings you can get. So got number board, silver paint. Okay, and like paint's chipping, and like I said, got some damage right there. Though I think I'll be able to get worse of that out. Just with some pliers, and of course got a piece of the floor came loose. It's in here now, so I put that back in. Okay, so right now set that aside. Let's go ahead and take the frame apart. Let's see. First thing, take apart. Let's just take the motor off. Let's see. Actually, first thing I do, I already took the lead or pony truck off. That's in here now. That's in pretty good shape. There's another wiper here. It's been soldered to the underbelly. Short term, I'll just go and remove that and then see how the engine runs without it. If it runs fine, great. Don't need it. But if I have find there's some issues with power pickup, I may solder it back on, or it's possible to either make some of these against some brass strips. I think there's a couple of companies I think may make these. So start out. Let's go and take this trailing truck off. Unlock the front truck, which is here, like that. Pretty typical design. So it's on an arm. This screws in there and can swivel, things like that. Yeah, this one is actually fixed. Instead of it being on an arm, it's got a little retaining clip, which does allow for the wheel to move back and forth, so you can still go around curves. And there is a spring in there, so I want to keep that. So let's get in here with a screwdriver and take that off. There we go. And we'll part picker again. There you go. Just put that right there. Keep track of it. You got there's part of the retaining plate. Hold the wheel set on. Let's just drop that right there. There's a spring right here. Just make sure we get that. Put that there. And then the wheel itself just slides out. And I'd say overall condition of the wheel is pretty good. Again, it's kind of just dirty. Just needs good cleaning. Let's try to drop that in there. Okay, now I can get at the screw that's holding the motor on. Oh, here. Let's grab that screw. Make sure we don't want to lose that. Let's see if I put it back as the hole it came out of. Okay, got it. Let's see. Tell you what, before I put it in, let me check something here. That screw, maybe one of the screws holding the retaining plate in place. And I'll pry that loose. I'll tell you what, let's leave the screw out for right now. I may need to keep it loose right now. So let's go ahead and, let's see, drop that there. There we go. Let's go ahead and take the motor off. Grab the screwdriver. Screw holding the motor is right there. And it's on there tight. There we go. There we go. And all right. There's the motor. Motor still turns. I mean, last time we were together here, I tested the motor. It looked like it actually did want to run, but I can definitely tell you just how it feels. There's definitely a lot of resistance there. And give it a good cleaning, a little bit of lube, it probably run just fine. But my own preference will be to replace it with some sort of a can motor. The main thing though is I want to be sure I get that worm gear off the the drive shaft right there. So I'll again do some research, what kind of can motor I might be able to put there. The important thing being that the drive shaft and the can motor will fit in that worm gear. So for right now, drop that. Let's put that over there. That's too big for going here. Now I can spin the drive here. Put that. Just had another screw come loose. Okay, I think I know where it went, so let's drop that in there right there. Make sure don't lose that. Okay. Mechanism, oh, pretty free moving. Again, I can feel some resistance, well, I'm sure it's due to it just being dirty. Needs to be lubricated. Again, looking at the frame, it feels level. There's no wobble in the wrong places. Some repairs that need to be done. Need to redo the pilot. Again, I got part of the pieces for that down in here. That came loose at some point. But generally, other than it's dirty, seems to be good condition. I do want to replace this pilot, you can see that, with some sort of footboards, which would be typical of a switch engine. And I may have to replace this decking. I haven't decided yet. And it looked like it just held on there with some screws right there. I'll probably go and take that apart so it'll make it easier to clean. Get a better idea what condition it's in. Cylinders. Need to do a repair here. If you can see there, this cylinder, the right-hand cylinder, is missing the cover here on the front of it. This one still has it. This one is missing. Most likely, if I can find a piece, some plastic dowel that matches the diameter of this one, I'll probably be able to cut a slice off, and glue it on there. And it should be just fine. A little bit of binding, but I don't think anything serious here. It just needs a good cleaning. So let's see. Okay, I need to take one more screw off from this retaining plate. One right there in the middle. I'm gonna take this screw off. Get the drive wheels loose. There you go. Grab a little screw picker. Reach down there, grab hold of it. There you go. Just set that over here for now. And grab the tweezers. Here we go. There you go. Got the plate, retaining plate off. Yeah, looks like it's in good shape. Just needs a good cleaning. It does have this little wiper soldered to it, a little piece of brass strip designed to rub against the rail, improve the electrical conductivity. Short-term plans, I'll probably, right now I'll leave it on there, but I may at some point remove it, experiment. When I get to the point where I want to try and run the engine, see if it, decide the time if it really needs it or not. If it don't, I'll leave it off. But if it does, I'll put it back on. Now these things, I know this particular one, I think the style was originally offered by a company called Tomar, Tomar. Don't know right now if they still make these or not, but it is, again, check on eBay, train shows where you probably still find them. And honestly, wouldn't be that hard to make out some brass strip, just get, wherever and just, saw it on there. Okay, set that there for now. Pardon me. Put these aside. Get in here close. Should be able to just lift that out. There we go. This pops right out. There we go. Just got to be careful to pull on that. There we go. Got that loose. Two sets of drive wheels. Side rods and main rods. Got the gear here on what would be the main driver. Of course, got the main rods there. What I got to do is I got to go and take this apart. So make it easier to clean. Overall condition look like it's good. Again, your way just needs a good cleaning. That's all. Here, find that little screwdriver again. Got slotted screws on here holding the rods in place. I need a little small screwdriver to get in there. Here, bring this over here. Make it easier. Something to hold everything in place. Hold on. Let's see. Get there. And there we go. It's one of those things. Just be a little careful with it. There we go. Okay. So you lift that up. There we go. Okay. Got something to hold it on here. I think there's actually a little washer goes behind that. Let's go and get the other screw out. Do that. There we go. Get it out there. Okay, there you go. That's loose. Push that aside. Just kind of set that right there. Not sure how well that shows up in the camera, but here. Yeah, there you go. The main rod connects the drive wheel to the cylinder, the piston, and of course the side rod connects the other wheels, keeps the wheels connected together. So, got a little parts box there. Yeah, that screw came out. Okay. Got to look close. The little washer here is sticking to my hand. Okay. Got a little bit of grease there. Okay. So, grab the tweezers. Yeah, I'm not sure you can see that's right there. That basically goes between the side rod and the drive wheel. So I'm just going to drop that in there for now. Keep track of it. And here's the screw for it. Yeah. There you go. Okay, there it is. There it is. Yeah, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but got the screw there, got the head to the screw there, and there's a little kind of bare spot, no threads on it, and then under that would be the threads that actually goes into the hole here on the, on the drive wheels. So again, just carefully drop that in there. And pull on that gently. There you go. Yeah. Well, the fingers are getting in the way, but there we go. Let's set that there. Yeah, be careful about that washer. Again, these things are just a little greasy. There you go, got that. Yeah, not sure how you all can see it, but it is there. Drop that in there. A little later, I may come back and put all these little tiny pieces into some sort of little paper, or I mean plastic bag, Ziploc thing. Yeah. Conditioner dry, side rod looks good. Again, it's just dirty. Just give it a good cleaning, good greasing, be good as new. Same thing here, the main rod. Can get that screw out of there. This screw is a little bigger than the other one since this all has to take up space for, you know, different, both the side rod and main rod. There you go. Drop that in there. Condition of the main rod is good. I can look at it. I can see it through the hole there. Maybe just a little bit of wear and tear. Kind of give it kind of a little bit of an egg shape, but that's not a not a deal breaker. There it is. It'll still work. Okay, let's go ahead and push that aside. Let's get the other side. In theory, I probably could just leave the stuff on here, but I got some ideas how I'm gonna paint these rods later. It just make it a little easier. And just like I said, I want to give them a closer look, make sure everything's working. Here, a little screw picker. Very handy tool. Okay. There you go. There, I'm gonna put that one here. Gonna keep the parts together. And that's a main rod. Again, most part just needs a good cleaning. Yeah, I can see the hole there slightly egg-shaped, but otherwise not a problem. Separate that. You can see the little washer here. Just gotta carefully pick that up. There you go. Drop that in there. And let's go and get the other one. There you go. Well, I hope you're enjoying watching me do this. I know it may be almost exciting watching paint dry, but just got all these little piddly pieces you got to be careful with. Here's grab that with the tweezers. There you go. Yeah, there you go, right there. That'll be the, and trying to kind of keep the parts together. So again, I don't think anything critical is happening when I put them back there later. Something gets mixed up. Yeah, okay, there's the washer kind of sticking on there. Got just a little bit of grease there that's sticking to. There we go. Drop that there. All righty. Dry wheels themselves, just put those there. There you go. Okay. Close that up for right now. Now, let's kind of take this apart. Looking at it again, just mainly needs some clean, strip the old paint off, give good cleaning. Need to do some repairs here on this front platform. Like I said, model looks, I don't know, something got dropped on it or something. And I was thinking, I was pointing out earlier, you got the cylinder cover there's missing on this one. But I'll be, like I said, find some plastic rod or something that should be able to matches the size. I should be able to just, cut a piece off, stick it on there. So, as far as this frame is concerned, the big thing is take these parts off. Yeah. Grab the handy screwdriver. The way they made this thing, there's actually supposed to be 2 screws on it holding the cylinder saddle to the frame, but one's missing. Push comes to shove, I could live with just one, but I'll do some hunting around so I can find a screw that matches that. Worst case scenario, re-drill the hole and re-tap it for a bigger, different size screw. Okay. Let's lift that up. Okay, there's the screw right there. We'll drop out. Let's open this back up. And drop that in there for now. What you got here is a solid brass casting for the cylinder saddle. The saddle there where the boiler goes, the cylinders themselves. And again, as I already pointed out, we got the little covers for the end of the cylinders. This one's missing. And again, I think I can kind of fabricate something, a replacement for it. Everything else is in good shape. Again, just probably need some good cleaning. We're ready to go. Drop that there. And a couple of more parts I can see here. I'm going to go and take this platform off. Got 2 screws holding it on there and there. Get in here. And get the other one. Here, I'll grab something here. Set this on that. Get it up off the table. There we go. And grab that. Here. What I'm going to do, set that screw there. That one there. There we go. I'm going to put the screws back on here. I've been doing that with some other stuff. Let's go and do that same thing here. And grab a little part picker again. Real handy for this. Put that back in the hole right there. There we go. Let's do the same thing the other one. I'm trying to keep track of all the screws. This is not something, if you lose one, you can just go to the hardware store and get a replacement. I think these are supposed to be metric size anyway. So, again, like I say, you can't just run down to the hobby shop and get another one if someone disappears. Just put that back on there. There we go. Set that in there. Here. Go back here. This is a screw that came out of the body, the frame here. So just put it back. So again, keep track of it. There you go. Just screw that back in. Keep track of them. There you go. Okay. Now, let me go back here. Let's see. Put that there. Let's put these screws back where they came from again. Keep track of them. Okay. There's a little washer there. Not see it on camera now, but it is right there. Let's see. Reach down, touch with my finger, and it sticks my finger. There we go. And just take the screw here, stick it right through there. You twist it a little bit, make sure it kind of goes on. Yep, still hasn't done it. Okay, here. There we go. Okay, now let's go and put this back here on the came from. There we go. Got that. Just kind of snug it down a little bit. There we go. Let's go and do the same thing the other way. And put that there. Can't see the washer. Okay. We have the little screw picker. Reach down, grab that. There you go. Put that back like that. Grab this drive wheel, put the screw back, thread it into the hole. There you go. Now use a little part picker, as almost like a screwdriver. Just kind of twist it in there. It's not enough grip to tighten the screw down, but it's enough there to kind of get the turn till I get this point. Then use the screwdriver. Just get like that. Just kind of tighten it down just a bit. Doesn't have to be super tight. There we go. Just so it doesn't pop out later. There we go. So put that There's grab the other wheel back out. and repeat. Put that there. Okay. There it is. Okay. Grab that. There's a little washer sitting there. Just stick to my finger. It's got to go a little bit of grease on it so it's easy for it to stick. And there you go. Got to twist it a little bit. Make sure it's on there. Find the drive wheel. Put it back on. Actually, just way I keep track of it. And all right. There we go. Now, one more time. There's a little screw. And it's right there. Find the washer. Well. Oh, there it is. Okay. Got it. Found it. Good. Let's grab hold of that. There we go. Make sure it's on there good. Okay. Then got the washer there and tip and finger. There's a screw. Just put it back in there. Okay. It's in place. Sure it's not going to come off. Now put the screw back into the screw hole on the drive wheel. There you go. Just kind of twist it a few times. Let it go. Get the regular screwdriver in here. Tighten it down a little bit. All righty. Now we just set that in there. Okay, here's the frame. Again, overall condition's good. I can see made some little wear marks, but nothing, again, not a deal breaker or anything. I do see one more screw here, which right now I'm probably going to leave alone because this is the pad where the motor is mounted. Since that's not really bothering anything, I'll probably just leave it alone for now. If I need to, I'll remove it later. Probably the main thing would be just maybe to clean it. But right now, though, it's good enough. So let's close that. Let me show you here a couple other things. And this may be an opportunity for some feedback if anybody has some experience with what I'm about to tell you about. Okay, here's the boiler. There's the headlight. Finally pulled it loose earlier. Here, get this out. Okay, I said there's the boiler. Again, it needs some repairs. Got to put a new smokestack on it, remount the headlight, strip the paint, repaint it. I mean, the paint's just falling off. One thing I need to figure out, though, is not sure how I can see on the camera, but right in there, whoever had this previously, somewhere in this model's history, some some stuff was poured in there for weight. I think there's a product called Cerrobend. I think, CERROBEND. Apparently some sort of a low temperature melting metal that you can melt and pour into cavities like this on boilers and stuff. Be some sort of a lead oxide or something. But I think that's what somebody done here to give them all some weight. Because, I mean, as it is, if it wasn't then there, this thing would probably be pretty light. And at this point, where they got the weight in there, it's not in the way, but some of the repairs I want to do would be easy if I could get inside the boiler. And right now, that stuff just fills in all that space. So I got to figure out a way to remove it. Also, the smoke box front is more or less glued in there, probably by the same stuff. And ideally, again, I like to take that off and clean it up and also remount it because when I look at it head on, it's slightly crooked in relationship to the rest of the boiler. So I'd like to be able to fix that. Based on if this is what I think it is, in theory, I mean, I could just drop this thing in some boiling water and stuff would just, the cerebellum would just melt right out. But I have tried poking in there with a soldering iron and can't get it to melt that way. But I think there's just so much metal here that it's just, taking too long for it to heat up. So, but maybe the next video I'll show you boiling this model in a pot of water just so you can get this stuff out of there. And like I said, if anybody watching this has some ideas about getting this stuff out of there, if you think it is cello bend, say something down in the comments. So figure this out. So, but for right now, the model is disassembled, and guess so. Next thing's gonna be, like I said, getting that weight stuff out of there and probably strip the paint and then get ready for painting and some minor modifications and the repairs too. Got fix this cab. Like I said, it's got a little bend right there. Like I said, and these braces are loose. Like I said, got some work to do, but easy enough to do. Okay. All righty. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little trip along the Morrow Road line. Had a chance, to watch me take apart old number 7. Take it apart, check all its parts, see what condition it's in. And like I said, overall, the engine's actually in pretty good shape. Well, the mechanical parts appear to be good. It's mainly going to be a kind of fixing the cosmetics. Like I said, having to do some repair here on the cab right there. A couple other things I was mentioning earlier about what I think is called serro bend. Pour it in here and give the engine some weight. And as I was saying earlier, it doesn't really get in the way of doing the repairs and modification, but at some point I may still want to remove it just to make it easier to get in there. So if anybody's got some ideas how to deal with that, let me know. Be interested in hearing about your experience. And again, that was part 2. Part 3 will be doing that soon, which probably will be stripping this old paint off of it. I've been thinking about what I do with this engine once I finish with it. Right now, it'll probably be the plant switcher from my little switching layout that I told you about in some other videos. I think it'll fit in there. And I got some ideas about got this wild idea about building another switching layout, which would be a factory switching layout. And this would be, like I said, the plant switcher for it. So, like I said, I got some ideas. And in the meantime, working on some other projects, and hope should be back soon with some more videos. We'll talk about various other things, about the fun you have playing with trains. And again, been getting some positive feedback. Thank you for that. Definitely, definitely encouraging, and invite you to participate in this program. Like I said, leave comments below, things like that. The routine, like and subscribe and all that. Again, invite you to do that. So with that, I invite you to stay tuned. Like I said, next part 3 will be go ahead and stripping the paint off of old number 7 and getting it ready for its repairs. And otherwise, again, stay tuned and we'll climb aboard and take another trip along the Morrow Railroad line. In the meantime, you all go out, have some fun with your own trains, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.
About 4:30, kissed his wife at the station in the door, mounted in the cabin with his orders in his hand, and he took his last trip to that promised land. Casey Jones.